This is a stimulus check update and daily news report, and Democrats have been battered over the last few days over Joe Manchin's block of the Build Back Better plan that they got together in a meeting, and Joe Manchin actually joined that meeting. I'll let you know the latest statement from Bernie Sanders of the situation, as well as Republicans texting Joe Manchin, trying to get him over to the GOP. I'll let you know what one Republican is saying, play the video clip of how Joe Manchin may switch over to the GOP. President Biden made a big announcement on Omicron and vaccines being distributed, as well as tests, and I'll give you a short video clip of what he says there. Also, I'll give you the latest stimulus check articles like this. Surprise $1,000 December stimulus checks are being sent out in the next 10 days. Make sure you've taken action to get cash. Also, this one, can Americans expect stimulus checks in 2022? Experts weigh in, and I'll give you some other important updates as well. Hope you're having a wonderful Wednesday. If you appreciate the fact-based, fast-paced updates, hit the like button down below, and I'm giving $200 to my subscribers. I'll talk more about that later on in the video, but first, 5 things to know about Biden's Omicron plan. So yesterday, he made his big announcement. There was a lot of lead up to it, and I'll just go over the quick 5 things, and I'll play a short video clip of what he said. So, lockdowns avoided, largely credited to vaccines, so there is not going to be any lockdowns happening, even though there are cases surging. Testing is expanding, but there's room for more, so there's going to be more testing, at-home testing, which I'll get into. I just want to give you some quick bullet points here. Hospitals getting help to face a major surge, so there is going to be Army, the U.S. military is going to be at hospitals to help out with the big surge in cases, and there are more steps Biden could take. So it looks like they're leaving the door open for more things to happen in the future. Didn't really say what that was about. And booster shots are key, and the unvaccinated are at by far the greatest risk. At the greatest risk, or at risk of basically getting it. But both vaccinated and unvaccinated people are getting the Omicron variant. All right, so also Biden to provide 500 million at-home tests and ramp up COVID response amid Omicron surge. So 500 million tests are going to be sent out or available, and people could do it from their home and be able to test if they have COVID or not. Also, Biden says fully vaccinated people can still safely celebrate the holidays as Omicron is spreading. So I feel like past holidays, I said limit it to 10 people, but now basically saying that people can get together and it's fine. And also, I thought this was interesting. Trump reveals he got COVID-19 booster shot and crowd boos him. So looks like Trump's base is not a fan of the booster shot. And then this article, Chicago mandates vaccines for restaurants, bars, and gyms amid COVID-19 surge. So Chicago looks like another city just like New York. Take a look at what President Biden has to say with his announcement.
And I want to start by acknowledging how tired, worried, and frustrated I know you are. I know how you're feeling. For many of you, this will be the first or even the second Christmas where you look across the table, will be an empty kitchen chair there. Tens of millions have gotten sick. We've all experienced upheaval in our lives. But while COVID has been a tough adversary, we've shown that we're tougher. Tougher because we have the power of science and vaccines that prevent illness and save lives. And tougher because of our resolve. So that, let me answer some questions that lay out the steps the Vice President and I are taking to prepare for the rising number of cases experts tell us we can expect in the weeks ahead. First, how concerned should you be about Omicron, which is now the dominant variant in this country, and it happened so quickly? The answer is straightforward. If you're not fully vaccinated, you have good reason to be concerned. You're at a high risk of getting sick. And if you get sick, you're likely to spread it to others, including friends and family. And the unvaccinated have a significantly higher risk of ending up in a hospital or even dying. Almost everyone who has died from COVID-19 in the past many months has been unvaccinated. Unvaccinated. But if you're among the majority of Americans who are fully vaccinated, and especially if you've gotten the booster shot, that third shot, you have much less reason to worry. You have a high degree of protection against severe illness. But because Omicron spreads so easily, we'll see some fully vaccinated people get COVID, potentially in large numbers. There will be positive cases in every office, even here in the White House among the vaccinated from Omicron. But these cases are highly unlikely to lead to serious illness. Vaccinated people who get COVID may get ill, but they're protected from severe illness and death.
What are your thoughts on what President Biden has to say about tackling Omicron? Good ideas, bad ideas? Let me know your thoughts on that down in the comments below. So lawmakers, business leaders begin to raise alarms about dwindling federal aid as Omicron cases rise across the U.S. So basically, the White House is monitoring the situation, noting that existing programs in the American Rescue Plan should help the country weather any immediate and economic headwinds. So basically saying all the money from the past stimulus packages, the American Rescue Plan, is starting to get lower as cases are rising. They're concerned about that. One Democrat, as I mentioned before, wants to have a separate big stimulus package, which with more stimulus provisions in it. That's Representative Jamal Bowman. Still not really developing much. Looks like Build Back Better still has priority over that, which I'll get into in a moment. But first, help for holidays. Surprise, $1,000 December stimulus checks are being sent out in the next 10 days. Make sure you've taken action to get cash. So basically, this is talking about Connecticut. Governor Ed Lamont announced back to work program for $1,000 stimulus checks starting May 30th to 2021, which will continue until December 31st of 2021. So if you did participate in that back to work program in Connecticut, you get a $1,000 stimulus check there up until the 31st. And then this one, can Americans expect stimulus checks in 2022? Experts weigh in. So to save you some time, basically there's no general fourth stimulus check. As you can see in this petition right here, a lot of people want it. Currently at for the $2,000 per month to every American for the fourth stimulus check, currently at 2,988,000 signatures. Now, can Americans expect stimulus checks? So President Biden just mentioned that there's not going to be any lockdowns, and we haven't heard of any general fourth stimulus checks. But as I report on a daily basis, there's multiple city and state stimulus checks. As I mentioned in yesterday's video, I talked about 33 different cities and states giving out their own monthly checks through the Guaranteed Income Program and Universal Basic Income Program. Then we have this one right here. Child Tax Credit 2022 update. IRS sent $3,600 stimulus checks out as deadline for January 15th payment nears. So basically, this is just talking about the Child Tax Credit. We don't know if that is going to continue because it is tied to the Build Back Better, and they haven't mentioned about separating the Child Tax Credit from the Build Back Better package. Also, let's get into what's going on with that Build Back Better. So progressives look to regroup after Build Back Better blow up. So after Joe Manchin, which could have been part of the negotiation process, him saying that he is not negotiating, progressives and Democrats actually got together, had a meeting, which I'll let you know about later on. But first, here's Bernie Sanders talking more about the big issue.
Joining us now live is Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders, who, of course, is chair of the Senate Budget Committee. Senator, it's a real pleasure to have you with us tonight. Thanks for making time to be here.
My pleasure.
Covering this from the outside, it has felt like sort of a chronicle of a death foretold, because it has felt like Senator Manchin has been sort of feeding the prospect that this would pass and that he could get to yes, just enough to keep the attention on himself, frankly. And I don't mean to speak derogatorily of him in personal terms, but it has felt like he's just enjoyed all the attention. He's enjoyed being asked every day. He's enjoyed all of the, sort of tea leaf reading about his feelings. I don't know how you plan to get around that, but I also don't know how putting him on the line and making him vote for it. I'm sure he's going to vote no if it comes up to the floor in January. I don't know how that will move him either.
Well, this is not only Mr. Manchin, and it's not only these policies which are so important to working families. It is about the Democratic Party trying to restore faith with the American people that they actually stand for something. What has been really painful about this whole process, to my mind, Rachel, is not only the dragging on of these so-called negotiations, it is that the American people don't know where we are at. Do we have the guts to take on the drug companies who are spending over $300 million in lobbying right now? Is that the Democratic Party have the guts to take on the private insurance company who do not want us to expand Medicare to cover dental, hearing, and eyeglasses? Do we have the courage to do what the scientists are telling us has to be done and transform our energy system away from fossil fuel? So the issue is not just Mr. Manchin. I mean, it would be really, really, really sad, and someone who worked really hard on this, if we were not successful. But it would be even sadder if the American people said, these people stand for nothing. Not only can't they get anything done, they don't believe in anything. They don't have the guts to take on the powerful special interest. And I would prefer us to be able to say, look, we tried. And we had all of the Republicans bought off by the big money interests. We had 2 Democrats who couldn't stand with us. Give us more Democrats, and in the first week of a new Congress, we will pass this. That's better to me than just to be negotiating forever and standing for nothing.
Joe Manchin seems to be the big topic of discussion day in, day out, but especially over the last few days, everything has been about Joe Manchin, and it looks like Republicans are loving Joe Manchin, have become new Joe Manchin fans. So Republican Senator texted Joe Manchin about joining the GOP. Also, Mitch McConnell was talking about Joe Manchin joining the GOP. So Senator John Cornyn said he reached out to Senator Manchin to encourage him to join the Republican Party amid backlash over his opposition to the House-passed Build Back Better legislation, saying this: "I don't know what he will decide to do, but I do know West Virginia has gotten increasingly red, so yeah, we'd love to have him. That would change the majority." So really interesting how much attention Joe Manchin is getting. Here is Van Drew talking about inviting Joe Manchin to the Republican Party.
New Jersey Congressman Jeff Van Drew switched parties to become a Republican 2 years ago. So let's put the question to you. Do you think that he will? And if so, why would he give up the leverage that he currently has?
Well, I don't know that he will. I surely hope that he will, and I surely invite him to come into our party. I really believe he would be happier in the Republican Party. What's happened to Joe Manchin is in some ways similar to what happened to me. You know, I wouldn't vote for impeachment, and I was beaten up by leadership in Washington, leadership back in the district. In fact, the last thing that was said to me, I'll never forget it, is, "You will obey." And I was threatened. And just like Joe Manchin's from West Virginia, well, I'm from New Jersey. And let me tell you, you don't say that. You don't tell people from Jersey they're going to obey. And of course, you know, rest was history. By the way, a really interesting little factoid, 2 years to the day that Joe Manchin made his decision, a good decision, not to vote for this bill, is 2 years to the day is when I was in the Oval Office with President Trump and made my decision that I was going to leave the party. So you know what? I did. I made history. I went from the minority.
You don't say heel when we open our mouth. And I mean, I think that was what Manchin was saying yesterday. Mitch McConnell was on with Guy Benson. Just listen to this clip from yesterday. Watch.
He doesn't fit well over there, but that's a decision ultimately he has to make. We certainly welcome him to join us if he was so inclined.
He was so inclined is the phrase that I think a lot of people are picking up on. We'll see what happens there. How did the party change for you?
The party has changed in so many ways. So for me, and again, parallel examples, it was impeachment, but it was many other things. It was the constant berating of the president, the lack of any bipartisanship, not giving us any information on the Republican side, which, you know, bothered me a lot because I don't think that's the way government should run. And then the final straw was impeachment, which was not constitutional. It wasn't being done properly. It was the wrong thing to do, and there was no cause for impeachment, period. And I said I wouldn't do it. I was not going to vote for it, just like Joe Manchin said he's not going to vote for this bill. And of course, you know, I was pushed and squeezed and pressed because they didn't like the way that it looked. And what I was saying before, to me, I'm happy as all get out. I belong in the Republican Party. It's a party that, you know, basically no party's perfect, but does care about America, cares about our future, and does not want to make us a socialist Marxist state. The changes in this Democratic Party now are so remarkable, and not in a good way, literally, and Build Back Better is an example of it. It would literally change the very structure of our nation in many ways. It's bad stuff. Federalizing elections, all that this new Democratic Party wants to do has nothing to do with the party that used to have blue dogs in it, that used to be the Big Ten, that used to allow people to individually think. People are pressed and pushed into voting even in ways that they don't want to. You see that in the House of Representatives all the time. There'll be a really bad bill that'll go through. I'll vote no. Other Republicans will vote no. I'll talk to a few of my more moderate, and there aren't many left, Democratic friends that are over there. And I said, gee, why'd you vote for that? I mean, I know you kind of well, and I know you don't believe it. And they basically say, yeah, we just kind of had to. That's not good government. That's not America. That's not what we believe in.
So what are your thoughts? Do you think Joe Manchin should join the Republican Party? Does it even matter? Should people even care about this? Let me know your thoughts on that down in the description below or down in the comments below. And that is all the stimulus news that I have for you today to hopefully cheer you up a bit. Here's my daughter Bella's tip of the day.
Hi guys, this is Bella. This is the tip of the day. I'll tell you the one thing that you should do. When you feel hurt, don't feel scared. Ask for help. Like when I get hurt, I ask for help. Like today. I got hurt, so I asked for help.
Thank you so much for watching. Appreciate your support. Don't forget, giving out $200 in just a few days. I have details to that down in the description below. And yeah, we've just been doing more Christmas stuff around the house. Now we're trying to wrap up all the gifts for all the family members, not just us, but other family members as well, which has been quite the task. Hopefully you are having a great day and holiday season. If you want to check out my latest Wise Buys video, I talk about raw sugar canes in this one right up here. So you could click that and I'll see you in the next video. Take care, be safe. Thank you for watching.